All right, my name is Brad McLeod. I'm 48 years old. I work, my day job is an environmental consultant. My sort of part-time job, evening job is I work as a CrossFit trainer, personal trainer at a local gym here in Atlanta. I've lived here in Atlanta probably the last 18 years. Originally born in South Georgia, grew up in North Florida, so I'm from the South and a Southern boy.
Tell me about what branch of the military you joined and why and when.
I joined the U.S. Navy back in 1982. I guess I was inspired partly. My uncle was in the Navy. I've got a long list of different relatives that have served in the military. But at that point in my life, I really just wanted to have a test, sort of challenge myself. I guess a lot of young guys are looking for that. And somebody handed me a book about the Navy SEALs, and I read it and read it and read it, and I still have that book today. And it really inspired me to kind of get off the couch and go do something in my life. And so I went into the U.S. Navy against all odds and tried out for the SEAL training with buds. And so that was my start.
And in terms of your military career, can you go into detail of how many times were you deployed, when did you leave the military, why did you leave, etc., etc.?
Yes, I was in the military for 5 years, actually 5 years, 1 month and 1 day. I say that jokingly. I actually had a really good time. I was in during the Reagan years, during the Cold War, where they were just spending a ton of money. Special forces were really important, as were the battleships. So it was a really good time to be in the military, in that there were no open conflicts, like Afghanistan and Iraq right now. A lot of smaller things going on around the world. I was actually, a little bit of detail, I was in buds first time. I got washed out for a math test. I'd already gone through Hell Week, so I had to go to the fleet for a year, which at that time seemed like the worst thing that had ever happened to me, and really was the best thing, because I had to go to the fleet. I went overseas to South Pacific. I went all over, travel. I was in Thailand, Philippines, I mean, all over, Hawaii, Guam, Korea, Japan. I had a really good time, but it also made me realize that I really wanted to go back to the SEAL training. And even though they told me your second time around, you're probably not going to make it, it's just very, very rare for anybody to come back a second time. I went back the second time, made it through Hell Week and all, and ended up at SEAL Team 4, I guess because I said I spoke Spanish. I learned Spanish in high school. And that was, a Central American and Latin American team. Did a lot of stuff down there. I actually had really rough duty, let me tell you. It was, I was on the Caribbean Defense Force, and actually stationed down in Puerto Rico. So I went to these really, really rough spots like Antigua and St. John's and St. Croix and St. Thomas. But we did a lot of training. I just, stayed in shape. We shot a lot of guns and stuff, and was stationed out of actually the East Coast, Little Creek, Virginia. And so that was pretty much, that was my 5 years and 1 month right there. That all, went by pretty quickly. And the reasons I got out were partly one of the main reasons I went in was to gain discipline. I saved money from my very first paycheck to go to college, and so I got out for that purpose, was to finish my goal. Now that I had the discipline under my belt, I went on to University of Georgia, where I met my lovely wife. She's here filming me today, and kind of the rest is history. But that, I love the military. I just, it was time to go to college and do that and take the next step in the journey.
I definitely want to talk about meeting your wife. Let's talk about this part first. So in terms of being deployed and in combat, did you ever see combat?
No, not really, other than, maybe some street fights and bar fights in Puerto Rico and the Philippines and stuff. That's about the only combat I saw. You know how they say you're not really supposed to talk about it, but what's funny is every guy in my platoon, they had been to Vietnam. They've been to Beirut. They've been to, you know, you name it. They've been everywhere. El Salvador, Nicaragua, whatever. And I was the only guy. Of course, I was a new guy. That was my first platoon. But I was the only guy there who did not have, other than my other new guy that was there with me. I was the only guy that didn't have, you know, big tales of, you know, combat and being wherever. So, you know, I was in the SEAL team for three and a half years, I guess it was, and it just, you know, during the Cold War, I mean, unless you just, you know, went to El Salvador or something, then, or Beirut, or, you know, at that time, I guess Libya, I don't know, you were kind of missing on a few things, you know. It didn't, not like today, you know, you go in the military, you know, you're getting shipped over to Iraq or whatever, or Afghanistan. So I just, I didn't have that, the combat stuff, but I deployed a lot. You know, I was on a ship for a year, I went overseas there, and then I deployed in the Caribbean, again, rough duty, but yeah, I was deployed and spent my time away from, you know, the U.S., shooting, blowing stuff up, diving, doing all that, you know.
Were you with the SEAL unit?
How far what now?
How long total? Like how many years total were you with the SEAL?
With the SEAL unit, let's see, I think I was there like, somebody asked me that this morning, it was like, I think 84 to 87. I got out in November of 87, so I was in the SEAL team for right at about three and a half years maybe. And then, you know, you throw in the BUDS training and jump school and all that. Then I was in the fleet for a year, and then, you know, my other Navy boot camp and all was probably another 3-4 months. So that's where all the, you know, the 5 years added up.
Cool. Okay, let's pause the camera and then let's go take two.
All right.